Kablam! Kaplunch! As you may have gathered from those made-up hitty words, it's time for us to get beaten senseless by Insaniac Team Fighter Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds, in which the assembled crews of the Marvel Comic Universe and Capcom's action game stable do the fist fandango. Caution is advised, people. It's mental like a dog with fireworks for brains. Fight! We've skipped the story part because it would have just been me saying Dr. Doom has united the Marvel villains and allied with Albert Wesker to punch Ryu in the face, and I've already said it. So onto the gameplay. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 provides a polished version of the frenetic 3-on-3 combat established by earlier entries in the series. But like a clown with neither a unicycle nor giant shoes, now it's all about the juggling. In fact, one entire button is dedicated to whomping your opponent into the air. Once the action is off the ground, it becomes a game of fisticuff chess. It's possible to chain combos together, then swap to your next character, and your opponent has to replicate your movements in order to escape a humiliating sky hiding. Combination moves are fairly simple for all characters. The standard fisty progression of light, medium, heavy attacks works in the air or on the ground. It basically plays like a faster, less tactical version of Street Fighter 4. It may be the hyperactive insect-eating cousin of the family, but it's definitely part of the Capcom gene pool. The newer characters nestle nicely among the classics, with the likes of Dante and Amaterasu certain to convert a few of the hardcore fans in a way that Abel and El Fuerte failed to with Street Fighter. Unfortunately, the single-player experience lacks the punch of the game's sister series. It's less tactical and the difficulty progression isn't as smooth. In particular, the end battle with Galactus is exactly as unfair as you'd expect from a fight with a dustbin god in possession of the power cosmic. Combine this with some beige endings and the arcade mode is a slight chore. The disappointment is soothed by unlockable nerd nibbles like artwork and character renders, but it feels like going to Alton Towers and being given candy because the rides don't work. The visuals in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 curb stomp other fighting games into the curb. Every character crackles with unique personality. Dr. Doom is like an arrogant armour-plated headmaster, Hulk is a gnashing outhouse of fury, and Deadpool stamps, skips and quips his way through every bout. The identities of the characters might be too defined in places, with the characteristics of the Marvel combatants occasionally pushed rather hard. Leave that fourth wall alone, Wade. At the risk of sounding mega obvious, the sexiest things here are the hyper combos. Who could resist seeing Mayor, Wrestler and Blue Oyster Bar regular Mike Hagger hit some Freddie Mercury poses before piling on the fist? Somebody that isn't us. We haven't had the chance to take our cannon-slapping trio online yet, but the Versus mode does a clinical job of pumping additive fighty chemicals up through your thumbs. Unfortunately, the priority and balance aren't as crisp as Street Fighter 4. It's possible to grind down other players by repeatedly spamming the same moves, and the counter-attack game is unpolished like Iron Man's dirty Mark 1 armour. It suffers from being overly simple, but also too random and unreadable. Like trying to preempt the movements of an electric knife baboon, it's sometimes safer to hide under a dust sheet than predict what's going to happen. In short, the multiplayer is immediate fun, but it doesn't hold up against serious frowny scrappers like Tekken or Soul Calibur. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is exactly what it should be, as dumb, shiny and explodey as a Resident Evil film or a comic book blockbuster. It's more of a sugar-fisted whirlwind than the measured kung fun of Street Fighter, but it's still an engaging rainbow yawn of demented enjoyment. It's a Galacticus-hating 8 from us.
Mission accomplished. Returning to base.